you're buying or selling a property, but if you're buying a property, one of the strongest pieces of advice that I give purchasers of second-hand property in particular is the need to get a structural survey carried out on the property. Now, a structural survey, as I say time and time again, is not to be confused with a valuation. It's a survey carried out by an engineer or an architect, and it looks at the structural integrity of the house, and it should actually look also at the boundaries and at the fencing and so on the ground corresponds with the folio map. But once the survey is carried out, what do you do with it then? Before we look at that, the reason you get a survey carried out on a second-hand property is because of the Latin maxim and principle in buying second-hand property, caveat emptor. That means let the buyer beware. So you're buying the house in the condition that it's in, and there's no point finding out afterwards, after you've done the deal, that there's a problem. You need to carry out your due diligence beforehand. And so that's why you get a structural survey done. What do you do though with the structural survey if it throws up issues or problems? Well, obviously it will depend on the extent or nature of the problems. If the survey comes back and your surveyor is saying to you, look, this is going to take 5 grand or 10 grand or 15 grand or 20 grand or 40 grand to put right, well, clearly you're going to need to think about what you're going to do. Are you going to proceed with the purchase or not? Now, you may be very anxious to proceed with the purchase, but clearly you need to build in or factor in whatever money might be required to be spent on the place. And therefore you're going to use the survey as a negotiating tool. The survey, remember, must be carried out before you sign a contract, because once you sign a contract you are kind of bound. You are bound to all intents and purposes. So you need to carry out your survey before you sign the contract. So your survey, even if it's going to cost 400 or 500 euros or whatever, will give you a huge benefit in terms of if there's a problem, you'll be able to negotiate with the vendor. Now, if the vendor says, no way, a deal is a deal, then clearly you have a decision to make. You can walk away or you can plough ahead, but obviously you're in a very, very strong position in terms of negotiating if the survey is correct and it flags up significant expenditure that will be required. If you're the vendor, then obviously you have a decision to make. You may have been aware of problems with the house, or this survey now may have put you on notice of problems that you weren't aware of. In any event, you have a decision to make. You're either going to drop your price and negotiate, or you're going to dig your heels in and say, no way, I'm not doing that. You know, a bargain is a bargain. But the bottom line is, if there's no contract signed, you don't have a sale, and that's the difficulty. You're going to have the same difficulty with the next purchaser if you have a next purchaser, so you need to be aware of that. So that is the situation in relation to a structural survey. Just a couple of things I would say. If you're buying a second-hand house, you are absolutely stone mad to do so without the benefit of a structural survey. Secondly, you're not just going through the motions with a structural survey. You need to pay close attention to it, and if it flags up significant expenditure that's going to be required, or significant infirmities or deficiencies or structural problems with the property, clearly you're going to have to A, reconsider going ahead, or B, negotiating a better price. Hope you find this video useful. If you do, give it a thumbs up down below, and you may be interested in subscribing to my YouTube channel. Thank you for watching.